Speed and sudden circumstances create unpredictable situations where every moment can be decisive. In our new video selection, you'll see incredible moments where strength and power meet unexpected obstacles. Trucks, excavators, and other colossal machines face challenges that will make you hold your breath. Wow, they continue their work even in the middle of a fire, and they can't be bothered. A truly amazing and mesmerizing sight. The sight of destruction of this magnitude makes the heart flutter several times faster. And it started out so beautifully. For a second, it even seemed that this guy would definitely succeed. But suddenly, one unfortunate movement, and the excavator was already overturned. Driving on such unreliable roads is an ordeal, especially when driving such a behemoth. You can see an experienced driver from afar. This man was able to react lightning fast and realize it was time to flee. This is certainly a stressful situation, but the driver decided to keep his hands up and make every effort to solve the problem. And miraculously, he actually succeeded. A real pro at what he does.
Boom! Awesome.
What was that guy thinking? Going down a slope like that and backwards is crazy. The person operating this device has to be incredibly accurate. It takes a lot of skill to perform such precise actions from the cockpit. Seeing a huge building collapse like a house of cards fills the soul with inexplicable turmoil. Every rumble, every falling piece of debris is just unbelievably creepy. Just a little more, and the driver would have had no chance at all. That's how approachable the ground strokes can be. Have you ever seen an old excavator being dismantled? It turns out that it's like a surgical procedure, where every moment is important and can affect the outcome. Luckily, it wasn't too deep by the shore. The excavation will be several times quicker that way. The demolition process seems pretty simple.
It's time to stop.
But it actually takes quite a bit of time to prepare. As soon as one truck failed to control itself, a second truck immediately rolled in. Unbelievable. How could this happen? Both drivers were probably in shock. Such incidents point to obvious examples of technical inadequacies or inadequate estimation of cargo weight. You can immediately see that the man was struggling to keep his balance in such a difficult situation. And he actually succeeded. To carry out works in such rocky places is the real Russian roulette. Not surprisingly, such a slender structure could not hold much weight and simply broke. He's a real virtuoso at what he does. Just look at how this guy can easily manipulate such a big thing without even bothering.
Nice.
Apparently, the driver slightly miscalculated the trajectory of the fall. This mistake could have been fatal. You would rather not make enemies with those construction workers. When working with such loads, especially near the water, it's necessary to keep an eye on every little detail to avoid such accidents. Such mistakes can be very expensive, and it's not even about money. It's impossible to even imagine what the driver felt at that moment, when the destroyed tower was flying straight at him. It's terrifying to realize that such sudden missteps can lead to great destruction. It seemed to be just a small, almost extinguished fire. But gasoline-powered machinery should not have been allowed to go there. That's the danger of driver negligence. It's just lucky that the fire was not strong enough to cause significant damage. Technology is primarily needed to make people's lives easier, and this garbage truck more than does the job. Unfortunately, any technology can sometimes fail, as happened in this video. Excavators are like real superheroes, only from the world of machines. Just look at how many functions they can perform. It feels like the methods of their application can be limited only by human imagination. It's unbelievable. Wow, many people would think that such a giant truck could only be lifted by taking it apart piece by piece, but it turns out that it can be done with absolutely no loss. What a lightning-fast reaction of the driver of this excavator. With such skills and tricks, he should not work on a construction site, but give whole concerts, demonstrating his talent to ordinary citizens. So he's speeding down the road, and all of a sudden, he's out of control. It's hard to imagine how much fear and tension the driver experienced at that moment. An incredibly stressful moment that makes you think about the importance of safety and a professional approach to handling heavy equipment. Driving on such artisanal crossings is always dangerous. Sometimes, even these machines can fail and lose control as the job is being done.
Oh my God!
The workers clearly did not properly calculate the force capabilities of this support. An excavator picks up a fallen truck, but here's the surprise. The truck starts moving. No one is immune to such emergencies. Keeping your balance with such a heavy load seems like something impossible. Someone was definitely having a bad day. What a tough assignment their shift has been. Even two excavators couldn't handle such a behemoth, and they all rolled over together. While trying to lift the boat, the cargo truck itself went underwater. What had to happen for such a massive structure to just collapse? Even the fact that the workers were directly underneath the dangling machine looked unsafe. And for good reason, because a few moments later, it fell down and deployed the entire crane with it. What a responsibility it is for the people who manage such heavy processes. During the process of launching the ship, an unexpected accident occurs. The crane loses stability and falls straight down with the ship. What happened there that all of a sudden the car just hit the ground? Moving such heavy things without proper backing is very inconsiderate. Transporting an excavator already seems like a huge hassle, but it turns out getting it down is an even bigger challenge. Such paths were clearly not designed for driving such colossal machines. He was very close to collapse. What a terrible wreck. Squeezing through the broken road of caterpillars was very hard indeed. From the outside, the process of eliminating old buildings looks pretty creepy. To avoid accidents, unsuitable buildings are always best removed immediately. What a reaction it must be to steer a car away from a wreck so quickly. For a second, it seems like just a little more and that building would come crashing right down on top of the destroyer. Seemingly, just one small pinch, but one thing can bring down an entire apartment building. Such processes should always be approached more carefully. Probably didn't have to take him up that high at all. And this is how it all ended. When one got stuck so badly that they had to call 2 other cars for help. So much for the unknown miracle machine. It looks interesting, but how to operate it is still to be learned. Oh, this situation does seem very difficult. No matter how hard this driver tried, he was unable to avoid a dire fate. Now it's just a matter of waiting for a team of helpers to get him out of this trench. Now you have a unique opportunity to see how these transportation devices are disposed of. Even despite their size and power, they're disposed of effortlessly. Every crumpled body part, every metal fragment is not just a car, it's a whole story. Whoa! It seems things didn't go according to plan here right from the start. Moving over the bumps, he just couldn't keep up with the ride properly. There's only one question. How could such a long structure stay there and at such a height? Although this method of descent does not look very well thought out and reliable, but still, it fulfilled its function to the hilt. Such paths often hide such nature traps underneath, especially when such giant vehicles try to pass there. Who could have foreseen that she would immediately start driving after the climb? So much for the accident in the middle of nowhere. Transporting something at that height was originally a great folly. What a horror. One can only hope that there was no driver in the cab at that moment. He tried, of course, but that's not going to accomplish anything. It takes a lot of practice to pull this kind of thing off successfully. Nothing seemed to portend trouble. Then suddenly, a few beams managed to screw things up.
I really hope I fall. hope my radiator's good.
On such a shaky elevation, it would be scary and unsafe to even walk, let alone do any work. Oops, that's a setback. It's really hard to work properly with that kind of soil. It turns out that this contraption can not only dig up the ground, but also clear the bushes. But you have to be cautious not to topple over in the car like this man. When traveling on tracks, you have to be especially careful on slopes. In such a situation, there was hardly an opportunity for a successful descent. Construction is always a place with a high level of danger. Even the toughest professionals can make the slightest mistake that can lead to irreversible consequences. There's been a little misunderstanding between the drivers. Well, between cars too. It's no big deal.
$20? No, too much money. He's no good operator.
Took so long to tune in, and in the end, well, you can only praise him for his efforts. And the most frustrating thing is that there's nothing that can be done in such a situation. Once the process has been started, there's no way to stop it, only to clean up the consequences. And they say that there are no hopeless situations. It's hard to even imagine how this problem can be solved now. Under such circumstances, one should not be ashamed to ask for help, for sometimes it's simply unrealistic to get out of them favorably by yourself. Even if everything seems to be under control, there's always the possibility that things could turn out very differently. It's simply impossible to look at such footage without covering your eyes. Sometimes, even the most real professionals don't get it right. Everything started out very right and beautiful, but in the end, ended in failure and fall. The driver of this truck clearly overestimated his capabilities. Such a heavy job would take more than a day to accomplish with just human power. But with the help of machinery, it can be done in a matter of hours. And even if there are small mishaps, this is not a hindrance at all. Yeah, sure. Not everyone can be a pro in this field. Well, it's already like a complete acrobatic performance. With a little more practice, you can conquer the Olympics. People who do such hard work for the benefit of society while risking their health deserve special respect. would be logical to go out and see what kind of obstacle is in the way. But unfortunately, not everyone can think logically. The man seemed to smell something wrong and even tried to take action. But even that wasn't enough, and the forklift rolled right off the truck. Maybe he was just trying to do some kind of dance. Only he accidentally got confused in the process and didn't even realize he'd fallen. Fast, but devastating. How was this block still standing on its own? What a responsible approach to work these guys have. Every tiny process is under strict control. Only thanks to such systematized work, it is possible to work quickly, successfully, and with pleasure.
And that's the way it's done.
The boat has returned to its usual habitat, except that it seems that the crane does not like to swim at all. Just a few more meters to go, and who knows how direly this could have all ended. Kind of tried to help, but seems to have made it even more difficult. Nothing out of the ordinary. It was just an unscheduled dive. Thank you for watching Smart Tech. We try to make good content for you. Every day we work for you. Video editor, screenwriter, designer, and content manager. We'll see you in the next video.